Hey everyone, I'm Ben. Welcome back to the Data Literacy video channel. So this is the second video in the tool tutorials series. In this video, we're going to show you how to make a candlestick chart using Google Sheets. It's really easy. There's a couple tricks and I'll show you that. And we're going to pick up from last month's tool tutorial where we took a web table and we brought it into Google Sheets using the import HTML function. And we did that using some data from Amazon stock prices in investing.com, and we showed how you can have a spreadsheet that constantly updates based on what that website shows. We used Amazon stock price data because, as we talked about in our Crucial Concepts series video, you want to be able to make sure that your data is fresh, right? Not getting stale. Unfortunately, that's the problem that Amazon ran into when they used an old version of their stock price to calculate employee bonuses, which they had to then walk back. Okay, so we'll see if we can close the loop here and go from the website to the spreadsheet to a chart and have it all updating. So anytime you open it, it'll show the new version of that candlestick chart. So what's a candlestick chart? Where does it come from? What does it mean? How do we read it? Well, it comes from the 18th century in Japan, where in the early 1700s, Japanese rice traders started trading on futures, not just the actual price itself. And so in, for example, the Dojima Rice Exchange in Osaka, which you see here, they would actually start to, trade on futures. And so they use this handcrafted technique in order to track the price of the commodity over the course of the day. And so how do we read it? Well, there are three components. There's the box or the candlestick in the middle, and then it has two wicks, one above and below. The candlestick is the difference between the open and the close price on that day. And the wick on top, you determine that by noting the high price in the day. The wick on the bottom, you determine by capturing the low price on that particular day. And if the box is white or clear, usually that means the price went up. If the box is colored in or dark, usually that means the price went down. In other words, it closed lower than it opened. Okay, so with that all in mind, let's dive into our spreadsheet here, and we're going to go ahead and create it. Now, one thing I noticed is that you need to actually bring a text version of the date that we get from the investing.com site. So over here in column H, we're going to make a new date column, and it's going to use this text function. And so we'll hit enter, and then we'll fill that in. And so now we have our text version of our date. And what we're going to do now is we're going to select all of the columns, all of the table here from B1 all the way down to the bottom of column H. We'll say insert chart. Now over here, we don't want a column chart. We'll click on that drop down in the chart editor and scroll down until we find the candlestick chart. Now it isn't quite set up right yet. We need to map the variables to the right parameters. So the x-axis, that's our date that we just created. The low price, well, that is conveniently called low. The open, that's called open as well. Close is actually what investing.com calls price. So we'll put that there. And then for high, we can also map it to the high. Okay, so now we get our basic chart, but we want to make a few changes. So if you click on the x-axis, you'll notice that, well, first of all, looking closely at it, we'll realize the dates are going backward. So we'll reverse that axis order here by checking the reverse axis order button. In the y-axis is a little bit zoomed out. It has a starting point of 0. So let's set the starting point for now to be $85. We get a little bit of a better view there, or at least more detail of the ups and downs. Now, one thing I noticed when I created this chart for the first time is that Google Sheets actually switches the color encoding. So a clear box is for prices that go down. The colored in box is for, in this case, blue, is for prices that go up. So I wanted to switch that to make it more close to what a normal convention for a candlestick chart is. But there was no setting to change that. And so I had to trick it. What did I do? I went back into the setup and I just changed the open to be the price column, and I changed the close to be the open. So it's tricking Google Sheets a bit if you think about it that way, because it's sort of lying about which is the open and the close in order to get the color to map to what I commonly see as a convention out there. Okay, so whether you wanted to stick with that convention or go with Google's recommendation or their default, that part's up to you. But in this case, we have now our nice candlestick chart. It's updating. Anytime you come in and open up this file, you'll see the chart being updated. And so there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed this little tool tutorial. We're going to be creating more and more as we go along. And so take care. Look for the next one. Talk to you soon. Bye now.